Okay. The prompt that says you're live, it just went away, so I know I'm good. I'm not gonna waste any time. Not gonna wait, just gonna get right into it, and one day a video will start where I don't say, we're just gonna get right into it. Let me start with a very staunch hello to YouTube. Yes, YouTube, to the manual human reviewer. I mean, at least that's what we're told, that every time we appeal some sort of monetizational regulated restriction, however you define it. I just wanted to say hello to that reviewer because inevitably, after every single video I do now, it is immediately given the yellow stamp. Hi, Queen, and hello. Well, what's up, Ronnie? Don't worry, I haven't forgotten. Although it's on my phone's is, and my phone might be in the car. But you know what? Queen, if you could do me a favor, sweetheart. Sorry if. Anyway, I'm gonna stick right here with y'all. Bear with me. Ronnie York is a friend of ours, a friend of mine. I sound like the mafioso here. His channel got nuked, all right, and I can only think of it's the reoccurring theme we have of more conservative voices or just truly American voices. I know Ronnie to be a fair man about. Is it okay? Can I say just male? Is that all right? I have a clip of somebody at a Congress hearing unable to answer the question of how many genders there are. I know that's an old one. That's not what I'm opening up with, by the way. But I do want to say, Queen, if you would, if you don't mind, if you get this specific link that Ronnie is at right now, and just drop it once or twice, that would mean a lot. Ronnie's an OG. He's known me since Stuck in the Middle, Stuck at Night. And Josh and I will be coming together, no, on June 29th. I contacted him. I do have this beautiful vacation coming up. Unfortunately, he's relocating again. That sucker's got to rebuild a studio again. And so I can't make it out to him, although I have a lot of huge plans and I'm still trying to put it all together. So, with that being said, yeah, so YouTube, I got my first copyright strike on this channel. Well, first one again. Yeah, okay. Yeah, we all know the original one, it goes away, apparently. And I can verify copyright strikes do go away. I got that strike because of the misinformation back when COVID was fresh and you were not allowed to speak the truth. Now that everything's reversed about the vid and the elections, funny how that all works time and time again, but it's a dead horse at this point that bears repeating. This one was a fair one, even though I still don't understand why all of my videos immediately are regulated to not being shared within the algorithm, which is what happens when they restrict your voice when you get the yellow stamp over the green sign. And I don't care. It's about expanding to more people. That's what I care about. The voice and what I learned trying to share everything with people. That's really all I give an F about. So I hate that apparently when they do this thing, when you get that yellow stamp, it doesn't only affect monetization, which I could care less about. It affects the ability to be shared amongst the algorithm for other people to hear you out. So I'm just saying to the manual, if there is such a YouTuber or a person that works for YouTube that has to manually review after they make their decision, and they seem to do it now, I guess you must kind of get listed, and after so many infractions, boom, you're kind of restricted. So I'm not going out of my way saying there's something crazy happening. Although let's not, it's obvious I've been going on about certain topics that are seemingly getting more uh hyperbolic and sensational to talk about on the YouTube streets. Look at what they've done to Candace Owens. Look what they did to oh, I forget his name, and I apologize. I've said it many times. The one who made "What Is a Woman." And with that being said, regarding censorship, I'm gonna get right into it. I saw a documentary that has. Oh, and let me say hello to those of you real quick. That's one of the unique things I like to do. Okay, what I love about lives. The reason why I refuse to do pre-records is because I like that you all are here and we're feeding off each other. Cindy D, my son's life mattered. Hello, sweetheart. I totally overthought when I said hello in the last time. And anyway, I'm glad to see you again, Big Alley. Big Cat, my brother. It was good to see you today. L Dumpling. Good to see you. C-Fowls, brother. That's all right. Trisha and Ronnie. Okay. I've said my hellos, my Shabbat Shaloms, and Queen, and D. Libby. Okay, that's it. Cut off, 86th. I watched a documentary. I wish I would have seen it sooner. I think I recollect hearing about it. I don't know. I don't have an excuse. I don't know how this missed my radar. And I wonder, because this is the kind of thing that would be shot directly into my sights. So I'm going to put out there for everybody. I know people have issues with a lot of these streaming services. Can't blame you. Don't blame you. But Netflix still has a wonderful inside look called American Factory. If you've seen it, thank you for watching it. And I would behoove you to say, almost as like an American duty, to share for others to watch that. Okay, I was pretty shocked, and it's really hard to shock me, believe it or not. It's hard for me to watch a movie and say it was awesome. I am not somebody that's easily, wowed. But my God, let me remind you, and I've mentioned this movie in the past. It's a comedy with Will Ferrell and Zach Galifianakis, where they're both trying to run as mayor or something against one another. And there was a lot of jokes in there, okay? And I believe after I watched it last time, I went live and I said a lot of truth is said in jest, and the comedy in there, it's hilarious, it's ridiculous, but the stuff that was being joked about, it's like they're dangling in front of us, and it was years ago. It's like, is it just playing us? Is Hollywood like poking fun, showing what they intend to do later on, and like, is it a big inside joke and we're not in on it? Because the things, okay, they use a term, okay, they have these two brothers in the film, which are essentially parodies of not Goldman and Sachs. Who are I forget. Okay, the Koch brothers. They are a parody of the Koch brothers, and obviously that's exactly who they were trying to make fun of. And for one, they're shown picking candidates who get to run and who get to win. They pick winners and shadow campaigns that go along to damage anybody else that's credible. Rings a bell, right? And what I found amazing is one of the jokes there is they were trying to do something called insourcing. Insourcing in the movie, I wish I could tell you the name of it. If you've seen it, please, you can drop the title. I wish I could remember it. All right. So insourcing is a reference to China utilizing their cheap labor and all of that, their cheap materials, and getting Chinese factories built here in our own country, within our own borders. Now that sounded absolutely ridiculous. I had a belly laugh when it first came out. I saw it then, and when I saw it then, though, I was like, something about this is familiar. And then a couple nights ago, when I looked up best documentaries on Netflix. That sucker's right there on the list. It was released in 2019. It covers GM going down in Ohio or Iowa. You can easily find out, and that was 2008. Fast forward to 2017, 2016, a Chinese billionaire decides to open up shop right there. So all the people, which was roughly 200,000 or more, people were laid off, had no work. Huge impact on the economy and that little state and that area that was completely nearly dependent on GM. The whole thing of American made. It's a shame that we have so easily allowed that to just fall to the wayside. I'm ashamed saying that out loud. So we have a Chinese billionaire. I have it in the background. I'll be sharing images and clips. I found at least one clip I really want to show you guys. So they've already done, like, insourcing. That was presented as a complete joke in the movie. So of course, a decade later or so, it's a reality. So I'll give you an example. There's one woman that used to work for GM. She shares in the documentary she used to make $26 and change for GM, for General Motors. Fuyao is the name of the window manufacturers that have taken the old GM place and rebuilt. She makes $12 an hour. The same woman that made 26 and change, that was able to buy her kids sneakers, now she can't, is making $12 an hour at Fuyao, manufacturing glass that goes for cars and vehicles for many distribution. Oh, goodness gracious, distributors. Oh goodness. All right. So I am right now going to show you guys a brief clip, and this clip is going to reflect how the Chinese are right in, like, I can't believe that they actually agreed to show some of the things that they did on the documentary itself. The Chinese are so brazenly impacting our economy and laughing about how we're just bad at our jobs, we're bad workers, how they're better than us. And I have a clip right here of one of the meetings they have meetings for the Americans, and they have the meetings for the Chinese only, which is all the managers. At first, they opened up with the pretense that, look, we're going to let all the Americans inevitably take over everything. That was never on the agenda. And all the people that started at the top got switched out. And it was a heartbreaking documentary to behold. So give me a moment as I now split the screen. Here we go. Boom. Okay. Let me find the first. This is a brief one. Okay. It's going to start fast. The subtitles, I'll repeat it, but this is one of the private meetings. This is the second vice president. They axed the first one, who I'm trying to recall if he was American. No. It was Chinese, but he wasn't aggressive enough, so they got this guy in. And here's what he says straight up. He's explaining to the Chinese workers, which is 200 Chinese managers and management and 2,000 Americans. And even though it's definitely rough when you're watching and you think this company is going to go down, they invited a few Americans to go to China and watch how the Chinese work. The Chinese people are accustomed to 12-hour shifts with no breaks and not paid overtime. There's the frustration of the Chinese people and workers expecting the same thing from Americans and not understanding why Americans want to take breaks or blow steam or even chat. Okay, so talk about a cultural dynamic. So here's one of the meetings. Okay, you need some skills to handle Americans. This is what the meeting's all about, to all of the Chinese laborers and managers. Oh, there's like no volume, so we're going to tend to that first and foremost. Boom. That should make quite a difference. Let's see. Hold on. There's also this. I might blow out my speaker real quick. Hold on. No, I don't apologize anymore. There we go. Volume is as high as it can be. I'll do my best. How can we take advantage of American characteristics? Let me also point out that they talk about in the beginning how we Americans, we're very individual and we're overconfident. You're going to get some of that here. And we're very brazen. We say what we say and what we think on our minds, and apparently that's not how they rock and roll. So again, this is the best I can do. Bear with me. But again, it's in Chinese. So to make them work for Fuyao, there's a culture in the U.S. where children are showered with encouragement. This is blatant racism, by the way. I don't know how Fuyao is now the third largest since the documentary dropped. The third largest manufacturer and producer of glass for all of these AAA title vehicles. So let's continue. Where children are showered with encouragement. So everyone who grows up in the U.S. is overconfident. Oh, speaking in English. Super confident. Americans. We love being flattered to death. This is an American, this is a Chinese company, a factory in America and thriving. There was a union battle, and they should have won. But of course, they hired and paid over $1 million to union busters. You will get into trouble if you fight with them. Damn right. Don't forget it. Donkeys like being touched in the direction that their hair grows. Chinese proverb, right? You should touch donkeys in the direction their hair grows. Otherwise, they'll kick you. Do you understand what I'm saying? You do? Okay. We need to use our wisdom to guide them and help them. Okay? Because we are better than them. Boom. Because we are better than them. There is no hiding the fact, no matter where you look, and as the deeper you look, whenever it's regarding the Chinese and how they view Americans, we're a paycheck and we're something to be managed, micromanaged. That's why we're forever going to be raising the debt ceiling, because one day, I don't know what it's going to be like when they want to cash in. I am afraid of what the future holds, and I'm confused and terrified of how compromised the Biden administration has been with China. But look, how brazen is it? So here's, if you've not seen this, if you're not familiar with this, I did want to also share the trailer. Fair use, please, Netflix, don't strike me down. I've already got one strike. Here's the trailer for American Factory. And I do hope the volume has improved. This one, there we go, better. Let me check all the main stuff. Here we go. Sorry I didn't do this beforehand. Bear with me again. Okay, I'm at maximum output. Here we go.
We stand here today with a plant that's closing, but I'm extremely proud of the people that work in this plant here.
For a year and a half, I didn't have anything.
We lost our home, we lost a vehicle.
I have struggled.
That was the woman that used to make $26 and change, who's making $12 under Fu Yao's management and employ.
To get back to middle class again.
That woman right there got fired for being pro-union.
This is a historic project that is going to help grow this community, give people jobs, and give a
He got fired.
future to your kids and my kids.
Where you sit today used to be a General Motors plant, and now there are over 1,000 employees working here.
We need more manufacturing. I don't know where the notion or idea that manufacturing in our own country was a bad thing. How did greed get this far? I have no love for our government. I blame the corruption within our government, and I am absolutely, I don't know, I can't even articulate the emotions. This next election, our ability to successfully vote and getting past the illusions and traps to actually get to the path of making our vote count. I don't know that I have it in me anymore. I'm still going to take part, but we've seen them so just unapologetically say, you know, flip the bird and spit on us. And I'm watching my P's and Q's, so I cannot see this video be restricted. So bear with me for that one.
Is this a union shop?
It is our desire to not be.
2 years after this documentary took place, an individual, a worker, did expire because of a complete lack of safety regulations, OSHA violations. There's still ongoing complaints about the safety there. And what they put the Americans through to be in somewhere that attributes to, I think, 109 degrees, and how long they're exposed to that. It's just, it's terrible. I'm going to shut up and let it go. I am also being a little weary of fair use with Netflix. What is our slogan? To stand still is to move back. That is when the Americans go to China to watch how it's done, which is stripping you of your individuality. Absolutely. And trying to get you to coincide and see one and the same. Fu Yao is absolutely 100% a piece of the communist government. There's no separation. The billionaire that owns the company has a family that's in the Communist Party of China, the actual government. There's no separation. That is a company that is now the third largest distributor and manufacturer of glass. I'm glad that there are some people that needed money to feed their families getting some semblance of pay, and I'm sure there's been some improvements. I know in an attempt to get the unions to quell, they gave everybody a $2 raise, and then they did an emphasis on why they didn't need unions and how we need to work together. Sickening. I am sick, and now I'm getting riled up thinking about it all again, and it's happening every day on our watch. This was happening. How did they lose the union battle? Why weren't the country's eyes on this? What was happening in 2016? Oh, yeah. That's when Hillary was trying to run, and just it's amazing the timing of things that are important that happen right under our nose, in front of our eyes, and somehow we don't see it. We don't hear it. We don't smell it.
We hope someday to get this good.
They're pretty slow. Again, we keep training them over and over. American workers are not efficient. Output is low. I can't imagine.
There have been 11 complaints filed. Some workers claim unsafe working conditions and unfair treatment.
There's a guy who worked 25 years. That's him right there. 25 years he worked for GM. Not a single workplace injury ever. Working with Fuyao, sliced his leg completely open. Oh, and they end up firing you if you get hurt.
Thing over and over again that wears on your body and your soul.
We're under enormous pressure here.
They told me that they had to be here 2 years.
I don't want to be completely anti-Chinese. I am anti-Chinese government. But this individual here, he's a good man. All right? There's honest Chinese people that were sent that have no touch with they're living away from their families, and they're there for 4 years to do the job, or whatever the case, away from their families. And they're working harder than the Americans, longer than the Americans. Although they grew up in a country and a culture where they're used to it. This is one of the few Chinese individuals that was actually kind of awakened. And that's a whole separate story arc that I hope those of you that have not seen this, give it a shot. There's this one guy, of course, he was fired after 2 years. He invited about 8 or 13 of his Chinese friends over. They all shot guns for the first time because you can't own a gun in China. Rode on the back of a Harley, and they could not shut up about it. So there's some beautiful, beautiful moments. But at the end of it, you will feel a sense of dread because apparently it's not stopping, and it's far past the beginning. This is now an ongoing, proven thing that happens within our country. I don't know what other word to use. Chinese manufacturing, Chinese factories, companies, they're opening up here and getting away with their regulations by not adhering to OSHA and not adhering to unions or safety regulations. I don't know how it happens as long as it has, but it's profiteering. That's all that matters.
Years away from their family, no extra pay. I've ate at their house, they've ate at my home. We've just bonded.
Oh, music. Hold on. I really admire Americans. They can work 2 jobs. That wowed him. I thought they didn't have to make any sacrifices. Oh, God, that's in China. This guy was escorted off the premises. The union battle.
Now the whole world is watching.
Nothing in America has changed in terms of working people working hard. What changed in America was rich people deciding they wanted to rewrite the rules to take advantage of people.
Oh, I like how they segued right to the Chinese billionaire. And when he's talking about what the problem is, we have rich people that are trying to change the rules. That was AWA union representative. Please watch this if you haven't.
American dream. To me, that would be un-American.
You gotta have the American dream. So I'm going to strongly, strongly advocate that you do yourselves a favor and check that out. Okay, real quick, what else did I... Oh, Red Pill, what's up? Ronnie. So real quick, what I wanted to share, okay, now that I'm not distracted and I have other clips, so I'll be as terse as possible. The fact that it's been happening under... So, and I think during that time when it opened up, that was when Obama was in office. You know, just why wasn't there more forethought put into making sure Americans profiteered equally or as much as the Chinese? I can't believe it. And this all ties to some comedy called The Campaign, which it's one of those Judd Apatow movies. Ridiculous comedy. You could think it could never be true. Insourcing was a term that was used as an entire joke, and now it's quite literally the truth. Insourcing, while not by its name, is happening every day in our country, and I couldn't be sadder about that. All right, so bear with me. I'm opening while you can't see Facebook. And thank you to Shamrock. I don't think you're here right now. I'm actually a little nervous to click play on this particular video because YouTube has given me a copyright strike for something unrelated for me filming the end scene of The Flash. I got a strike for that. Okay, fair. But we also know they almost demonetized Candace Owens. If they can get Candace Owens, and Matt Walsh for simply stating facts, I'm afraid to go against the tide. Wait, did I really say that out loud? Okay. What's the one thing I always say not to do? Never go with the tide. So erase what I just said. Throw my caution to the wind. YouTube reviewer, when I have to appeal, fair use and nothing but the truth. Respect these people and their experience of what they're sharing. Yes, this has to do with the T in the LGBTQIA community. All right, and I found this to be strong. And look at where it comes from. So respect the message. If anything, YouTube and your handlers and reviewers, you would be the bigot if you silence these voices. All right, I'm not trying to get banned, I promise. Okay, so I got to share the screen now. Shamrock, you're right here. Right on time. Perfect. Okay, what's up, Angry? What's up, man? Angry Conservative. Okay, so Just Do It is right. Going back to there we go. All right, you recognize that, Shamrock? Thank you again. Stuck in the middle, right there. Josh and I are collaborating June 29th, if you want to remember. So I guess I'm going to go ahead and just play this thing. I didn't even finish it, so that's exciting. I like to see things fresh and live in real time with all of you. All right, here we go.
I operate a website called sexchangeregret.com, and we've...
Hear that, YouTube and world and United States and left DNC advocates and doctors, pseudoscience doctors that want to give castration chemicals and all that and mess with hormones like they're nothing to the youngest possible demographic. Yeah. Did you hear that? Let's just, for those in the back, start one more time.
I operate a website called sexchangeregret.com.
Regret. Sexchangeregret.com. Sexchangeregret.com.
And we've helped over 1,000 people, and we continue to do that every day. I mean, I'm 82 years old. I'm still talking about the harm that was done to me 78 years ago. Well, it all started when I was a 4-year-old boy, and my grandmother started cross-dressing me. When my dad found out about me being cross-dressed, he was horrified. Later on, his adopted brother began to sexually molest me.
All I want to point out after hearing something that heavy, and I know this is sensitive topics, I'm going to have to mention when I put this video out, controversial, sensitive content material. I am not insinuating by any stretch of the word. Let me get my, let me just look sincere and not have my funny sunglasses with FU on them. If we recall, looking at the statistics, okay, 50% shot for those that go forward with the operation are unaliving themselves, okay? So when I say this out loud, I'm almost certain this is going to be regulated. But you can't look at that and just go, yeah, that's okay. 50-50. They're going to either decide to, end it all or not. That's the stats we're dealing with. And what was it? Last year, 2022, it was, what was it? I'm trying to remember the number. It was pretty damn high. We saw the attempts. We saw the consideration. We're talking about 70 percentile, close to 70% considered. And I forget how many actually tried. And I don't even know how many actually succeeded. Those are numbers you cannot ignore. And so what I'm not trying to imply is that everybody has been inappropriately touched or gone through such a trauma. Not at all. But what I am going to just kind of fleetingly mention for food for thought is that there's something underlying. Not in every case by any means. I cannot make such a broad general statement. I can't. That's disingenuous. Okay? But we have to entertain that there are underlying mental issues that could be addressed, should be addressed before anybody goes under the knife for anything. It's a life-changing surgery and procedure. This, what is it? Gender affirmation care. So, okay, let me let the man speak his piece.
I got married, had children, and then I went to a gender specialist. When he met with me and said, you need hormones and you need surgery to resolve this conflict that you have about your gender.
Well, wait, I didn't get this far. The doctor suggested you wait. Is that what? Okay. I'm gonna shut up and watch. I'm confused. Did the doctor suggest? Oh, you have gender issues, therefore you should go through with the. That just proves to me my theory, and maybe I need to rewatch this. That the incentive is a lifetime patient and a lifetime paycheck.
Well, the truth was, it was never about gender. I learned this after I was 50 years old. After living the life of Laura Jensen, female transgender, it was always about what happened with a purple dress and being sexually abused. And no one was addressing this adverse childhood experience that caused that trauma.
That would be too unpolitically correct, right? That would hurt the plight and the fight. Thank you, Shamrock, as always, for sharing all these gems that you do. I understand why your account has been banned 3 times now, and that's an outrage. I got this little gem right here. This I know I could play with impunity, complete safety. I want to mention I'm outraged that this is what our tax dollars are paying for. I'm glad some of these conversations are happening and that some of the most hypocritical Democrats are getting put, their feet to the fire and getting asked sincere and honest questions that they don't want to answer. I love watching that. Hell, I love watching anybody, left, right, independent, anybody in a position of power that can impact legislation, be asked the hard questions. Dialogue. That's what we need to fuel an honest and transparent country. It's the furthest thing than what we have. Oh, by the way, random quip, okay? I learned through Josh, thank you, Josh, that Biden actually withheld information about that, the submarine that went for the Titanic and it imploded. The Navy had a bead on the location. He withheld the news. Now I got to get this right. Either that it was already, that it was over for them, or the location in and of itself. He ensured that the media did not report it until it correlated and coincided with Hunter Biden's, what was it he just got noticed for or picked up about? Oh, goodness gracious. You know what? It's on the Stuck in the Middle page. I'm right there. Let me see if I can find the post. I have not forgotten, and Josh is killing it. I'm looking forward to collaborating again. That's heartbreaking right there. Learn the story about the sun and did I find it? U.S. Navy detected Titan implosion on Sunday, but Biden administration only released news on Thursday after the Hunter plea deal and whistleblower reports. So, if ever you need an example or a recent one to any buddies or pals of yours that are naysayers that the mainstream media is not doing them any favors, that is like in real time, every single second they have the ability to regurgitate some garbage to you, utilize this example right here. I'll say it one more time. The U.S. Navy detected the Titan implosion on Sunday. So, yes, they already knew that all those people were gone. Okay? Biden's administration, and I don't think Biden has the coherency or the capacity to be so strategic. I'm sure his team said, let's make sure that the news gets released while the Hunter Biden plea deal and whistleblower reports being released would make the news and really catch the spotlight. Let's oversaturate it with more of this Titan thing, which is a whole story in of itself that Josh and I will talk about. But thank you for pointing that out. And that's outrageous. And I hate the Clintons. I hate the Bidens. And the list is growing. And it's Starting to scare me. Okay, now, real quick, guys, here's the Senate hearing. Again, our tax dollars are funding conversations that should be had. It should be mandatory what's being discussed. So let's take a moment, have a view, have a chuckle, and join me in my frustration of what you're about to behold. Oh yeah, I did mute during the commercial. Let me get the volume all back up. Okay. Oh, Black Dabbit. There we go.
Senator Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thanks to all of our witnesses here today. Ms. Robinson, I want to follow up by trying to understand your answer to one of Senator Cruz's questions. And this is really a question, not a suggestion. Do I understand your position to be that there are two sexes, but there can be more than two genders?
Behold the dancing and rope-a-dope that we're about to bear witness to. It's amusing. Watch her dance.
I wouldn't even say two, and we've got Dr. Lopez here as well, but there's also the definition of intersex. I think that often in these conversations,
intersex meaning hermaphrodite, meaning 0.6 to 0.9%, under a 1 percentile, just like the chances of contracting the vid, or not contracting the mortality and not surviving it, pretty similar. Okay, so very small percent, 0.6 to 0.9. That's biologically it. She cannot concede to that. Now the dance begins.
We're conflating sex and gender, and I do want to affirm here that trans women are women. That is their gender.
Okay, but I'm trying to understand. Do you make a distinction between sex and gender?
Yes, sir.
Okay, explain that. Do you think there are more than two sexes?
I believe that there's a definition for intersex as well that I want
hermaphrodite, lady, hermaphrodite.
to acknowledge. But sex is
Okay,
assigned
so
at birth.
I'm just trying to understand. I'm thoroughly confused. So you're born, I'm talking about biology, male, female, and what else?
I believe that intersex is also acknowledged. But again, I'm not a doctor here. What I can
And
say
what does intersex mean?
Hey guys, you need to be a doctor to determine the fact that let me quote the great philosopher known as nameless child actor from Kindergarten Cop. Boys have a penis and girls have a vagina, or as I like to even more intellectually articulate, males have an outie, ladies have an innie. I think that should go in the medical books, but that's just me. I'm a dreamer.
Is that there's a difference between sex and gender. And I think in these conversations, we're conflating the two.
Shut up. Answer the question.
But I want to start with sex. Okay, there's male, there's female. When a baby's born, before the baby has had time to
be sentient,
even have a sense of self.
Sentience.
There's male, female, and intersex. There's a third sex.
I believe that is true, but I would defer to Dr. Lopez as I'm not a physician.
Okay.
Meaning I'm actually quite afraid to state any facts because I pander to my my constituency, even though I know the answer.
And how many genders are there?
I think the gender is expansive and the definitions are always growing. Today I can tell you,
More
I talk
than
to young
five?
people
More
that
than-
talk about non-binary as
More than five?
I think the gender is not a binary, is what I'm trying
But
to say.
are there more than five genders? I'm just trying to understand. Are there more than five genders?
Well, I mean, I think that there was a time where women.
Remember, folks, I have aptly just covered this ground because they said more than 52. I just say coconuts with a little SpongeBob inside. That covers it right there. But if you want to get technical, it's expansive. It's a growing field. I came up with this at my place of business today. I said, to a coworker of mine, I should commit a crime or a felony, allegedly, right? Whatever. And when I get arrested, oh boy, what a hellacious crap storm, remember I'm trying to watch my P's and Q's, it would be if I demanded and said to the arresting officers and made a public statement, I identify as a female. I will only accept being taken to a all-women's prison because that's what I identify with. And at that time, I will happily drop the soap. I wanna see the end of that movie. But don't worry, I identify as a woman. So there's nothing I could do biologically that would satisfy me. So yeah. No, if I started making calls to Democrats and got the media involved, imagine if this happened in Canada. I'm waiting for this to happen, by the way. Somebody somewhere in one of these immensely pro-blue liberal states where they can't just concede and just speak the truth because they're afraid of feelings, and now feelings are going to take the place of literal facts and science. That's the world we live in today. Somebody at some point is going to commit a heinous act, and there will be some sort of community that rises based on the infraction and advocate and make a movement for a man that is demanding to be recognized as a woman to be put away in a woman's jail or prison. Mark my words, one day in the future, this is going to happen somewhere, and I can't wait. I'm disturbed by it, but hey, schools right now in California are going for genderless bathrooms. Are we that far away? So are we going to get a genderless prison? I mean, where does it end? The slippery slope argument used to be the thing I detested the most whenever I was advocating as a Democrat and then progressive when I was fighting for Bernie Sanders. I hated the slippery slope argument, but you have to start thinking how far this can all go.
Women wearing pants didn't feel like it was appropriate for their gender, and yet
this was a stupid straw man.
I think the gender is not a binary, is what I'm trying to say.
Are there more than 5 genders? I'm just trying to understand. Are there more than 5 genders?
Well, I mean, I think that there was a time where women wearing pants didn't feel like it was appropriate for their gender, and yet I'm wearing pants today. I think that there are ways that we express our gender that are expansive.
Are there more than 5?
I wouldn't subject myself to naming how many genders there are, but what I can say is that gender is a reflection.
Number?
Excuse me?
There's an infinite number of genders?
No, it's an expanding field. It's like an oil tycoon, and just we're finding more oil everywhere, and it's just ever expanding. It's infinite. It is in space. That's how far we can conceive of all these different identities, and don't you dare question my validity or my gender affirmation. Even if I have a penis sticking out of my forehead and I say I'm a woman, you have to agree.
I think depending on your culture, there are a lot of different genders.
Coward.
That exist. And I can also say that it's a term that's evolving. If you look at young people today, they really don't lean into the binary of only woman and man. So I think that it's incumbent upon us not to legislate on this, but create space for them to explore what their identities are.
I'm going to pass legislation for furries to be recognized as the animal type that they like to dress up as and fornicate as. So if they dress up as a pony or a wolf, we have to recognize them as a pony or a wolf, or you get fined and then arrested if you don't pay the fine.
Or what their gender identities are.
Remember, the last time I went live, I played a clip of was it in the UK? I forget, in that school, a teacher called a student despicable for simply stating a fact, which was that another student that claims to be a cat isn't a cat. The teacher said, "You're despicable."
Let's get back to athletics. I think I understand what you're saying. There are 3 sexes.
0.6 to 0.5.
Male, female,
hermaphrodite,
and intersex.
I believe that to be true, but again, I'm not a physician.
And there are an infinite number of genders because gender is a mental state.
Gender is about expression, and I think that there are a variety of ways that you can express your gender.
Okay, so there's infinite number. All right, let's go back.
This gives a whole new playing field to one of those creepy fellas that likes to play with himself in public. It's all about expression. So I guess the creep that would normally get arrested for vagrancy and being inappropriate, He's just expressing his gender, honey. You know what? Just watch. Yeah, we have parents that say, yeah. Listen, oh, my daughter, my child, my SpongeBob SquarePants, pineapple, coconut, human, something or another. Unless you don't want to be recognized as human, watch the nice man play with himself. He's expressing his gender. What a touching moment. Literally touching.
Back to the biology. Male, female, boy, girl. Okay. Biologically, do males have an advantage over females biologically in sports?
Again, I'm not a physician and I can't speak to that.
What's your real world experience?
It depends. I mean, there are some people who are born male that I'm faster than if I were to sprint against them, and some that I'm not. Some males that are taller than some women, and some that are shorter.
That a biological male has a physical advantage in sports over a biological female?
Not as a definitive statement.
Give me an example. Well, no, I don't think. How many female members of the NBA do you see?
Well, I can say that, there's been this news article about men that think that they could beat Serena Williams in tennis, right? That they think that they could actually score a point on her. And it's just not the case. She is stronger than that.
What's your experience, Ben?
Now, here's a woman that has been an open advocate about recognizing the autonomy and how important it is for women to be recognized for their accomplishments as women. Okay, a real athlete who's everybody's trying to cancel her. Let's hear her answer this question in reference to her real world experience.
Male, female.
Both Serena and Venus lost to the 203rd ranked male tennis player, which they're phenoms for women. My experience, my husband, he swam at University of Kentucky as well. In terms of accolades and in terms of national ranking, I was a much better swimmer than him. He could kick my butt any day of the week without trying.
Cancel this woman immediately. Cancel Forbes. Cancel this hearing. Just everything. Turn the lights out. Pretend it didn't happen. Erase it. That's terrible. That was so bigoted. Her real world experience. It cannot trump the whole delusion I'm trying to push here. This is incredibly dangerous. It's malarkey, I tell you. Malarkey.
I just think, Ms. Robinson, I'm trying to understand where you're coming from. I think you lose a lot of.
I'm going to thank him. I want to make it very known. I'm very grateful for everything he does in dissecting this Democrat, this woman, for what she is. Okay. And it begins now.
I just think, Ms. Robinson, I'm trying to understand where you're coming from. I think you lose a lot of credibility when you don't concede that a biological male has physical advantages over a biological female. I mean, I just think that's a proven fact, and you really hurt your credibility. I understand you want the world to be a better place. I do too, and I don't think people ought to be discriminated against because of an immutable characteristic. I don't. And I think that I think everybody ought to be free to be themselves. And what you do in your bedroom or what I do in my bedroom with a consenting adult is nobody's business. But if what I do in...
Meanwhile, the trans and drag community are like, oh, shut up. I want to tell everybody everything. That's my voice for them. Anyway.
In my bedroom with a consenting adult, if I decide I want to tell somebody's child about it, then other people have rights too. And I think parents have rights. And I think biological females have rights to be able to compete fairly in sport, in sports. So I really think you hurt your credibility when you refuse to acknowledge that biological males have an advantage over biological females. It kind of makes me wonder about all your testimony.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you,
Senator
Mr. Chairman.
Kennedy. I'm sorry, go ahead.
What I'm trying to say is that there is not a definitive advantage in all cases. Sir, I don't know if you believe that you could beat Serena Williams in tennis, but I probably think that that's not the case. There are not all cases where all men are physically superior to all women. And at the end of the day, in this conversation, we're not talking about that. We're talking about trans women who are, in fact, women, who deserve to play in a gender that matches their sports, who deserve all the benefits and this.
I don't think, in terms of deserving, that term applies here. I'd go as far to say nobody really deserves much of anything in this world. You earn it, and biological women and biological males have equally earned their place to compete in their respective sports of choice. Unless we have some other sport or some variant of the sport where it's written, it's no holds barred and anybody could be anything, fine. It has to be separate. And you cannot infiltrate something that is not broken and proceed to break it and then say, we're not breaking it. This is just how it's always been. It's not how it works. It's not how it works. You're not going to fool us. We're not going to just go along with this. You're impeding in on common sense.
Gaines is talking about. And as a cisgender Black woman, I can say definitively that my womanhood is not threatened by a transgender person asserting hers as well.
Senator Hirono.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I thank all of the persons who are testifying today. For Ms. Robinson, do you know what?
I didn't. All right, so that's what I wanted to share right there. So what have we gone over today, boys and girls? American Factory, YouTube reviewer, by the way, YouTube censorship. Let's see. I got a copyright strike. Let's see what we can do now. I will immediately take a picture and show what the result is. What's up, BSR? Good to see you. Oh, cisgender. Majorie Green addressed this, but cisgender is what is known as just a regular. I feel nervous to say normal. A regular, normal male is a cisgender man or male, and then a regular, normal woman is a cisgender woman. And now this has been this word. All these seem to be new terms to a lot of people. People are catching up because there's new words and definitions being invented every day to keep us, I don't know, stupid, confused, baffled, whatever the case. Cisgender is used as an insult, just like Karen. You know, for a white chick that's like losing her temper. They're called Karens. Now, the LGBTQTIA SpongeBob SquarePants community just say, oh, what a typical cisgender het. They go cisgender het. Het meaning heterosexual. So, congratulations. It's fascinating, isn't it? So, okay, so American Factory, if you haven't watched it, please do yourself a favor. Get that on your favorites wish list on Netflix. Watch it. Please let me know if you did or have. I'd love to have a more of a discussion about the impact that China continues to have. And because Trump was the first president to make me, a Democrat progressive at the time, recognize another country, another foreign entity as an actual viable, serious threat. That's why I'm pretty passionate about seeing him have the right to run. And every little dirty trick they're playing in the book, it's already like what they've charged him with is what Hillary Clinton did with her emails in 2016 and what the Bidens and Biden himself have done with documents themselves. And Trump had what Biden has, presidential powers. So, just the rules for thee, not for me. It can only go on so long until I hope some sort of collective outrage or awakening. I don't know what to call it. We can't call it woke because that is associated with everything we know that is deplorable. That used to be a word that was, for people that are getting red pilled or something or whatever, being taught the truth in real time. And it's been appropriated by the left and now it is demonized. So thanks, DNC. Thanks, liberals, Democrats. And that's not my only gripe. My gripe is with the government and the system. Dear government, I hate you. I hate you. You serve mostly the elite, those in power, those with money. You do not respect nor have the great interest of the working class American citizen, which is why the middle class is something that is nearly a thing of the past. You tell me if, and this is not me playing the violin, the world's smallest violin. Currently, it is far more challenging for up and coming adults, people from their 20s getting into their 30s to buy a home than it was 20 or so years ago. I believe that's an accurate statement. So that's it. Just call things for what they are and have no fear about retribution. Because if there is retribution for speaking the truth, we have a sincere problem we need to address. So yes, dear government, dear FBI, who is now the cronies, just like the mainstream media, are for our government. They're all one strong. They're one arm and one hand, and the media is just one finger to the hand. The FBI is another finger. Thank you to the whistleblowers that came out of the FBI and lost their careers. I have heard that they're now going on podcasts, keep spreading the word about how the FBI has become just a weapon to be politicized. I cannot sit here and say with my heart that I believe the FBI is doing any sort of good. I'm sure they're getting some bad guys out there and traffickers. I mean, I don't know. And the CIA with all the propaganda and who is really serving us? If the core and the center of everything doesn't recognize who they need to serve, how can we trust any of the three-letter agencies that are given such power? There's zero trust. And I have zero passion in the government of our country. But I love this country. I love real American people. And I love that I have connected with people that are not in this country. I love that. We can celebrate our humanitarianism, being human together, and recognizing corruption simultaneously. But I have to start seeing the fight manifest, because I do not think if we keep at the rate we're going and we keep succumbing, surrendering, and letting Fuyao, the Chinese manufacturing factory company, coming here and flourishing, things like that continue to happen, this country will fall further and further to the wayside, and there will be nothing American left about America. There's something that I say quite a bit, and I always question the accuracy, but I'll leave it with this real quick. Okay, one of the things, I have my top 5 reasons that Trump won me over, and it was always because I had to go and research when I was actively on Stuck in the Middle, the credibility of any statement by the mainstream press. And time again, there were lies upon lies. Nothing added up. Nothing was true. It was just a hit piece. The opposite of what they did to Bernie Sanders, which was a blackout on the media and lies upon lies, of course. So here's how the story goes. And this one, I'll say allegedly. I don't have proof. YouTube, I am not stating this as a fact, but I'd be happy to have this looked into. Trump was right at the precipice of working out I do believe this to have been the reality of the matter. I remember I learned this from CanCon. Trump was about to get the best deal possible, something he's known for, signed, and get China. Remember the tariffs that were imposed? I was working in an industry where we needed aluminum and metal. I was in the hurricane shutter and impact class industry for 2 some odd years, went on 3. And the tariffs, man, it was tough. America went through it. It was quite a challenge. And we stuck to it, though. We bared our teeth and we grit, and we went through it, and it was a sacrifice. It was a necessary sacrifice, and it was a strategy. And China finally conceded because the tariffs were hurting their bottom line and their dollar. The last thing China wants to happen. So as the tale goes, as I understand it, China was going to sign right back over the manufacturing rights to America. Beautiful America. Okay? That we were going to be able to retain our patents, and we were going to see a massive end and exit from Chinese knockoffs. Imagine what that would have done. And then as the story goes, from what I learned, again, I'm only sharing what I was taught and told. You have at your fingertips the ability to confirm this. What was it? 2 to 3 weeks later, a month later? Guess what happened? Can anybody answer this question? I'll be quiet for just a brief moment because I'm gonna say it out loud. I'll tell you exactly what happened, but right before China was going to sign, and manufacturing could have started blossoming. We could have seen a real return to a great America. COVID happened, and the deal was taken off the table. So on that, I'll leave you all with that. I thank you all so very much for taking the time to listen, to hear me. I am still, I'm open-minded when it comes to this next election. I got my eyes on RFK, on Trump, to see if they even give him his right to have a campaign, and DeSantis. And that's it. I'm not going to talk about the oh, woe is me stuff. I just want to focus on the issues of our country, because they're getting so intense that they're now personal problems. I bid you all a good night. Actions, not distractions. Justin, you made it late today, but I'm sorry. I did think about like giving a heads up, but I'm sporadic. I'm sporadic. I'm nomadic. Do not panic. At least I didn't go down to the Titanic. Word. Queen, that one girl, Allie, my girl, what's up? We got to collaborate again. D-Libby, Action Not Distractions, BSR, it's good to have you. And Patricia, it's great to see you. That's it, my friends. A good night to you, one and all. Hold on. I feel awkward without my glasses. That's a weird thing. That's a mental thing. All right. Hey, Slim Reaper, you so-and-so. I still owe you a phone call. Trisha. All right. So this is where I say goodnight for like 4 hours. Nat. Psych. Shamrock. Oh, good. I didn't hit end broadcast. Shamrock. Silenced. Not while I'm around. Angry Conservative. Peace out. One and all. Okay, that's it. Good night. Go to sleep. I'm going to wait for you all to go. Now we're going to make it awkward.